A Massachusetts teenager named Michelle Carter, who's 18 years old, encouraged her boyfriend to kill himself, and she could now be facing a manslaughter conviction, involuntary manslaughter. A juvenile court judge ruled that it is okay to go forward and charge her with involuntary manslaughter. She sent her boyfriend, 18-year-old Conrad Roy III, dozens of text messages last year encouraging him to kill himself. And Roy's body was eventually found in his pickup truck in Fairhaven, Massachusetts in July of 2014. He died from carbon monoxide poisoning. Police found a gasoline-operated water pump in the back seat. And just a couple of days ago, Judge Bettina Borders denied a defense motion to dismiss the manslaughter charge, saying, no, that charge can be used here. And Carter's lawyer says that the earlier text messages showed Carter trying to get her boyfriend to seek help and that she is not at all responsible for his death. But the judge said, no, we have a bunch of text messages here, and we also know of a phone call, both of which included Carter encouraging her boyfriend to stay in the car, not to get out of it, and to do this. And there's a couple arguments here. And this is a really horrible story. And legally speaking, there are a few arguments being made. One is you're blaming the girl for the boy's weak mind. Because if anybody can just convince you to kill yourself, then there's something that is already wrong and it's not the girl's fault. But the counter to that would be something, quote, wrong would be something like depression, which is an illness, and it creates significant vulnerability. And we can't allow, as a society that is based on the rule of law, we can't allow individuals to prey on those who are ill, be it physically or mentally ill. And then there's the sort of question of what are the manslaughter requirements? Massachusetts still has a common law definition of manslaughter, and it says that it includes wanton or reckless conduct that a reasonable person could foresee would cause the victim's death. So it does seem to fit, right, Lewis? If she was dating this individual, it would be reasonable to think she knew his mental state, and thus a reasonable person could expect that text messages berating him to kill himself could lead to him killing himself. That doesn't mean she's guilty. Remember, this is just a judge's decision that she can be charged with involuntary manslaughter. You still need a trial, right? We're not saying she's guilty. We're saying based on the definition of manslaughter, at least the charge seems to be warranted, but maybe you disagree.
I don't. It seems reasonable. And I think that there are plenty of other cases where you have someone, I mean, this is kind of like coercion, right? You have cases where someone convinces someone else to commit some type of violent act, a robbery, a murder, a beating. And in pretty much all of those cases, we have examples of that person being guilty. So I don't see how this is any different.
Mob bosses have been convicted for ordering killings. Individuals who hire hitmen are obviously guilty, although that is a different situation. Maybe there is no exact corollary to this, but certainly the idea that being involved in the idea of a killing and not the physical execution can lead to pretty serious guilty verdicts. Now, someone emailed me saying, David, this isn't manslaughter, this was murder. She wanted her boyfriend dead, and she took actions that directly led to her boyfriend's death. I think you're going to have a tough time pushing that in the legal system. One other thought on this, which is some have emailed me saying, David, this is a kid, right? You're talking about someone who at the time was 17 years old, if my math serves me correctly. That's a separate issue. And this is a juvenile court judge. She is being tried in the juvenile system. This is a totally separate issue from the disaster we have in this country of trying children as adults. And actually, our interview today is about children in adult lockup. Totally separate issue. Going by the way the law is written in Massachusetts, it seems to me that, opinions aside, the charge is the correct one, and we need a trial to determine if it is indeed a guilty or not guilty verdict. Send me your thoughts. I'm really interested, actually, Lewis, to hear from the audience on this one, because I have a feeling people will disagree.
Yeah, and I'd like to hear from people on her motivations. I have my ideas, and I think that would be interesting to talk about as well.
There's a new masterpiece series on PBS called Indian Summers, and it's a pretty cool twist on the period drama. It provides a cool look into British and Indian experiences during the time. And I don't mean Indian as a Native American, I actually am talking about India. It's a 9-part series. It premieres Sunday, September 27th at 9 Eastern, 8 Central on Masterpiece on PBS. And it's set in India in the early 30s, the 1930s, during the sort of twilight of British rule in India, which ended in 1947. And I am really looking forward to this. I started looking into this time period in India. I admit I did not know that much about it, and it's just fascinating. And the cast includes Indian, British, and Pakistani actors. It includes Julie Walters, Nikesh Patel, and Henry Lloyd Hughes. And it's set specifically in the Simla region near the Himalayas, where the British would sometimes relocate during the summer to work and to socialize. And it is absolutely a fascinating area, a location, and a time period. So check it out on PBS. It's Indian Summers on Masterpiece starting this Sunday, 9 Eastern, 8 Central.